Now, plans for an HIV memorial on the site of the London hospital where Princess Diana famously shook hands with AIDS patients are being unveiled today, with a final monument being placed near the former Middlesex Hospital by 2026.
The centre was home to the UK's first dedicated AIDS ward, which was opened by the Princess in 1987. Our LGBT and identity correspondent, Josh Parry, has this report.
1980s Britain. Big hair, short shorts, new technologies. A decade of change. But in the gay community, news of a strange disease killing young men began to emerge. Jonathan was 33.
I was essentially, having got this diagnosis, sent home. And I remember arriving sort of at my flat. I was living in the East End, and I just closed the door and I absolutely collapsed. And it took an age for me to contact anybody. And I felt like a modern day leper. I felt completely on my own.
And as news of HIV spread, stigma grew. It lay blame, guilt and shame at the feet of the gay community.
It was hell. It was absolutely relentless hell.
But in 1987 came a turning point. Princess Diana's visit to the Middlesex Hospital, home of the UK's first dedicated HIV and AIDS ward.
The Princess of Wales has opened Britain's first purpose-built hospital ward for AIDS, and she shook hands with 9 AIDS patients.
That was a complete game changer. She was just, magnificent. Is the only word that one can describe it. What is amazing, which I don't think people realise, because she never made any kind of publicity, but she kept going back to the Middlesex to see people. So it wasn't just this one official. She kept going back privately to go and see people and give support. That is remarkable.
Ash has dedicated his life to campaigning for a memorial to those lost during the AIDS crisis. In 2021, he appeared alongside former Health Secretary Lord Fowler on BBC Breakfast.
I set up the campaign. The campaign is to remember those who we lost, but to carry on fighting stigma, because stigma stops people accessing medication.
Later today, plans for that memorial and the designer chosen to create it will be unveiled. Its aim? To change hearts and minds for generations to come. Josh Parry, BBC News.
We are joined now by Mark Ward, the Haemophilia Society's LGBT ambassador, who was on the panel for the selection process of the memorial. Morning.
Good morning.
This must be quite a day for you.
It is. It's been a long time coming. Too long.
What does it mean to finally have this arrive?
I think the major word has got to be recognition, because finally London has said we see you, and future generations will see us. They will remember us. And that's, as the intro said, that's really the important part, is that with stigma still there bubbling under the surface, and people in healthcare and just the way it's been weaponised over the years, this tells the world really that London has finally caught up, and they're doing something to ensure that people in the future are educated.
Talking about London, obviously this memorial will be in the capital. What about the rest of the UK? How are we doing as a nation? I was honoured to be part of the unveiling of the AIDS memorial in Brighton, and there are other memorials up and down the country. There is a dedicated haemophilia HIV memorial called Birchgrove, which was we fought for in the 90s. And again, if I could just give you one example, when the National Trust then were approached for this memorial, the land, they said no because it was connected to AIDS. They fought us all the way and wouldn't have anything to do with it. And then attitudes changed, and there's a tree planted for every haemophiliac who was contracted HIV. So I have a tree there. I've never been because I'm not sure if I want to see my tree, but those trees live on. And this memorial in London, it will live on in a similar manner because it will now be there permanently. It's going to be somewhere for the communities to come to because it's it would be a place of reflection. But at the heart of this, we've got to remember that it's going to be a place of love because all the people that you've loved, you've lost, your friends, your family, it's all going to be there for everyone.
You say that stigma is still bubbling under. How have things changed?
Oh, they've come a long, long way. I mean, recently, when I was in London for the infected blood inquiry report, the cabbie taking me to Parliament had heard me on the radio the night before, and when we pulled up outside Parliament, he got out of the cab, came round, gave me a hug and said, "This one's on me, go get them." And I thought, wow. I mean, I cry at the drop of a hat, but I got all teary, but that wouldn't have happened in the 80s. The 80s, we lived in fear. Just by doing this right now, I asked my family years ago, I want to go public, but we didn't know if that would mean attacks on our home. You know, what would the neighbours say? And that is a genuine fear. You get new neighbours move in and you just don't know what will happen.
And you unusually contracted both hepatitis C and HIV through contaminated blood, is that right?
That's right, yes. Yeah, as a child, yeah. Yeah, I was told at the age of 14 that I had HIV. Unlike some people, or most people, when you go and have an HIV test, you have the pre and post counselling now, and it's all much better. And you've got, if you like, a day. Well, with us, because it was all research and we were used to test, all my medical notes is that they believe I seroconverted in 1982. So I was told in 1984, but around 82. So, yes.
And 40 years on?
40 years
You're
on.
looking well?
Thank you.
Doing well?
Well, that's because the marvels of modern medication. I mean, I'm standing upright. The older medications have done their damage. I take more tablets now for the side effects of the old medication than I do for the new ones that I'm on. But the regimes now are brilliant. And of course, that when you've got a non-detectable viral load, it means you're not infectious, you can't pass it on. You can now live a normal life.
Good stuff. Well, great to meet you. Mark, thank you for coming in today on a special day. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.